Yes. So, I'll explain this in a minute. Hi everybody. This video is going to be like tips and tricks and things you need to know if you want to preserve your edges. Super, super important concept, especially among black women or like the natural hair community. I've seen a lot of my sisters struggling, and I just felt like maybe we can work on this for a lot of the people who are new or still early on. Because what's the whole saying? An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of a cure. It is so much better to work on preserving them ahead of time instead of dealing with the impact after you've lost your edges. So let's get started. The first thing you need to know is you have to pay attention to your edges. It seems pretty straightforward, but a lot of times women are not noticing until they're darn near balding, So the first step is going to be, sorry, I was like, y'all don't have no supernatural stuff happening here. Anyway, the first step, pay attention to your edges. Look at your edges. Like, I'll show you what I'm working with here, and even here, pay attention. For us with locks, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult since our hair is kind of like giant strands, but even like when you're retwisting or the new growth, like you have to pay attention. For loose naturals, when you're pulling your hair back, are you seeing like gaps? Is it thinner in areas? For my relaxed sisters, when you're brushing your hair back, are you losing a lot of hair in the brush or comb? Are you thinning? Is there a lot of like tightness or tension there? Are you feeling pain there? It's important. One of the best ways is to track your journey. And even if you don't decide to come do like YouTube videos or anything like that, or what I do, or post them to Instagram, because them selfies be okay. Just, keep the pictures of the videos or whatever for your own purpose. And it's a lot easier to say, I wonder, it feels like my hair is getting different versus, wow, look at my pictures from January, February, March, and April, and May, and actually see that change happening. It's really important. So that's the first step, just being aware and watching your hair. Step 2, probably one of the most important, is avoid tension. Avoid tension, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of the most important tips. Do not put too much tension on your hair, seriously. That's the quickest way to get it to come out, especially if you were leaving that in for long periods of time, whether it be protective styles or multiple days of just keeping your hair bound, however, that will pull out your hair. So the first part of that is like, make sure if you're getting braids or twists or anything put in, or you're doing it yourself, make sure they're not too tight, particularly around the edges. I know you want it to stay and preserve, but don't get it too tight, or the braids for your sew-in. Make sure that they are not like, even around here, like I said, you want them to last, but there's a difference between them being tight to the point where they're pulling out brain cells. Like, you have to be careful with that. Another way is when tying up your hair, which is where this comes in common or in handy. Ladies with like thicker hair, my loose naturals, and particularly people with locks, elastics, we have to say bye. We can't do it no more. Like with me, it's been, I think since even before the year mark, I could not put my hair in just one elastic ponytail holder like this. Even when I was a loose natural, I couldn't really, half my hair would fit. So one thing you can do is get you a material like this. And to show you where I got this from, this is hubby's sort of do-rag. And all I did was I took one side of it. You see how it just hangs off of here? And I just cut that, and that became like my new do-rag. This is one of the ones like the more of the wave caps. If you get an actual do-rag, it's a little bit thinner, it's sheer, it's kind of got the same material like satin though, which is really cool. But there's no, I will come close, there's really no band. Like there's this little part here, but there's no like elastic or anything that would be able to pull at the loose strands of your hair. Sorry guys, hold on. Oh, yeah, there's nothing to pull at your loose strands or make your hair get tangled, and it's super easy to put in and remove. And the great thing is, it does stretch a little, but it's long enough to where you can make it your own tightness. And I'll give you kind of a demo on here. Frequently, I will just go ahead and take my hair like this, and I'll pull it like back And you know, I don't worry about like the strands falling like this one right here. I'll get that in a second. But I take it, and I'm trying to lean down so you can see, guys, I'm sorry. I take it and I'll tie it kind of like that till I get the correct tightness. And then the thing is, as you move it, you can loosen it up to wherever. I usually push it back just a little, and see right there, there's like no tension there. And the beautiful thing is just take this strand, if your hair's in layers like mine, and just tuck it right there. Boom, you got a secure way to pull, you know, do your hair, and it kind of turn for you. You know, I can shake, I can do all that, and it's not going anywhere. And it literally just has like a little bow there, or you can tie it underneath. But that's a way that you can, you know, pull your hair back without having to use some tight elastic. Another way, I use this kind of a secondary method, is just to, you know, use these. You can either use it as a longer elastic, or just to show you, just take this. All right, you can start off as a headband, but go back further. And you see, you can kind of get the same effect and just pull back as much as you need to. And I think it would be even better, like if your hair is maybe shorter in areas like mine, like I had this already pinned back, but it'd be better for you to go back and use something loose like one of these options, and then just bobby pin maybe the front 2 rows if you want to get those a little tighter. But better to bobby pin them rather than just securing them in a way that is going to lead to hair loss. And as you can see, this is one of those same, it's not satin or anything, but there's no band, there's nothing in there that's going to pull at your edges or anything like that. Super easy to put in and get out. Can be a ponytail holder if you want to go that route, you know. But as your hair gets longer and longer and thicker, that's just not going to be doable. So I encourage you ahead of time to start seeking ways to style your hair in that sense. So that leads me to the third kind of thing you want to watch out for is protective styling. There is nothing wrong with it, but just make sure that it is, like I said, not too tight, and that you're maintaining it in a way and styling it in a way that you're not putting too much pressure. These will especially be important if you're going to be already having your hair in braids. Then don't, you know, go hard on even more tension while your hair is already in braids. And you see what I'm saying? Like micro braids and that kind of thing. Be very, very careful. Yeah. So next part, do not mess with your edges while your hair is dry. Especially for my natural sisters and locked sisters. Our hair is naturally dry as it is. That's just something that we deal with, which is okay, but that means that you can't be brushing and combing and manipulating your edges while your hair is dry. That's not a good idea. Wet your hair, add a little leave-in conditioner or product that will go miles and wonders. You know, your hair is a little bit more malleable and can move without breakage if it's moisturized. But you know, just like any part of your hair, if you do too much while it's dry, it will become more fragile and break off. So it's, you know, it's just something simple. A quick spray across your, you know, roots, or a little product, add it on, and then do whatever you got to do. Perfect. I'm trying to think if I have any more tips for you guys. Another way to maintain your edges, especially, now this goes out for all ladies, but particularly the loose naturals and the relaxed ladies. If you want to maintain your roots without doing too much, like I said before, get a little water and a little leave-in conditioner, even if it's just a liquid or an oil or something like that. Then, you know, kind of run your fingers through it or comb or whatever you have to do, and tie it down with either something like this or a silk or satin scarf, and leave it on for, you know, while you go through your morning routine or sleep with it at night. And that'll help lay down your edges without you having to go hard on brushing and gels and all this extra that is not good for your edges. Because you just have to remember, your edges are probably the most vulnerable part of your hair, you know? They are. And the thing is, if you take care of them, they will stay. But if not, your hair will thin. And you know, the goal is you want to avoid losing them. And on top of that, you could even possibly experience like traction alopecia and have to go through that process of, do you want to go through hair restoration? You know, so if possible, avoid that, you know. And just remember the tips, like, less tension on your hair, better protective styling methods, not so tense, and understand that you don't need to be putting tension every day. Tie up your edges and just pay attention to your edges. That's really what most of it takes. Even if you have a style where you're trying to go for a really tight look, just, use exception. Use exception on your roots. Whatever you have to do, just try to make an exception for that, and your roots will stay healthy, your edges will stay, and you will just overall have better looking natural hair or relaxed hair or whatever you choose to do. So that's all I've got for today, guys. I will hopefully see you in a couple days with the next video. Bye.